He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. She's backed into a corner. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife, a mid-range narcissist, finds herself backed into a corner. Where might this lead to? Let's examine, first of all, how she ended up in this corner. Contrary to what she has suggested, the world did not know about her because of Suits. The world knew about her because she ensnared a dim-witted ginger prince. She married into the royal family, but she messed that up. She ran away, assertion of control through withdrawal, and claimed racism and that she wasn't supported, pity play, smearing, revision of history. At that juncture, there were sufficient people that still supported her, who didn't like the royals and therefore would support her, and a story to be told about her involvement as a commoner in the royal family and the subsequent Megxit, which could generate a lot of interest. There was also the opportunity for reinvention, and thus she decided to flee to California via Vancouver Island. Driven by her narcissism, the intention was to tell her truth, be a celebrity, continue to use her title, and make money. She began by telling her truth for Oprah, dropping a number of bombshells, which many people did not accept, but there were plenty of other people that did, and provided her with support. As part of Megxit and the fact that certain media companies recognised that there was a story to be told and potentially a rather juicy one, deals were done with Spotify and Netflix, big money deals. And thus, early on, all looked rather rosy for this one's wife. Yes, she couldn't cut it with the royal family, but that didn't matter, because she had been able to control it by removing herself from it. She failed to change it, so her narcissism caused her to remove herself from it. And thereafter, she wanted to run around telling her story whilst getting handsomely paid for it and being recognised and being a celebrity. And thus she got her way. But after time, Spotify realised that they had hired a lemon, and they cut ties with her after one failed series of arsey wipes. Netflix, they got the viewers in through the grudge watching of the docuseries. Pearl was canned, Live to Lead didn't go anywhere, and neither did Harry's Invictus programme. Netflix started to wonder just how much money have we spunked on this that's actually proving out to be a bit of a dud. We thought they'd have more content vis-a-vis the royal family, but unfortunately it tends to be all whinge and victim based, and the public have grown tired of that. Accordingly, her next move was therefore to decide that she was going to join the A-list. But the A-list said no. The Obamas ran away. Oprah backed off. Relationships with the Beckons, for instance, soured. The Clooneys came to the wedding and were nowhere to be seen thereafter. Certain circles were laughing at the desperation of this one's wife, attempting to hang out with people. And thus the A-list turned its back. She decided she was going to be a politician, and commenced with parental leave, which went nowhere. She was going to march on Washington with Gloria Steinem, which went nowhere. Her political aspirations were dampened down by one politician blocking her from calling. Thus, the politics fireworks soon fizzled out. No matter, she would be a writer instead, and thus came into being The Bench, which was laughed at and ridiculed and really didn't sell anywhere near as much as she suggested. We saw her input with regard to Spare, which just reinforced her reputation as a poisonous individual. She wanted to be a fashion icon, but no fashion houses or cosmetic giants have been interested in signing up with someone with such a toxic reputation, added to which she invariably looks a mess in the clothing that she wears. No matter, she'd be a philanthropist. This would, of course, aid with the facade management, the drawing of fuel and assertion of control, but generally speaking, philanthropy means giving away your money, and that's not something a somatic narcissist such as this one's wife would enjoy doing. She doesn't like using her money. She wants to use other people's money. No problem. She'll use the donations that have come in for Archwell as a means to pay her own expenses, and then to shower that money around with various grants and donations to make her look good. Oh dear, the donations have dried up, apart from a couple of celebrity ones in relation to Archwell. Oh well, the philanthropy really is going to have to take a back seat. What about setting up a faux royal court? That doesn't work. The British royal family remain popular, and the Americans aren't interested in such an approach. Never mind. She could return to content creation. That's difficult. She's lazy, has no imagination, and is unpopular. All that's going to be coming our way is a programme about polo. That's inclusive. And cooking and gardening, like there are no shows about that already. Netflix are simply waiting to get out of the contract. Oh well, she tried the royal family and failed. She sought to tell her truth and got it out there, only to be revealed as a liar. The A-list said no, politics wasn't a runner, writing wasn't her gig, Fashion said no, philanthropy didn't work, a faux royal court fell on its face, content creation hasn't been particularly good. I know. Last throw of the dice, how about a lifestyle brand? Oh dear. Existing ones are far superior to her. It's an absolute world's worst launch. She's unpopular, therefore people spend their time ridiculing it. She has no products, and ultimately it has not got off to the launch that she thought that it would. The lifestyle brand probably represents the last throw of the dice for her. She still has a deal with Lemonada, but quite frankly, that's not big enough to host her aspirations. Netflix see it as being in a death spiral. Where then does she go to next, having been backed into this corner of having tried to be so many things and having failed repeatedly? Perhaps she could unveil a new big backer, one of the major media companies. This seems unlikely. They'll have witnessed what went on at Netflix, and even notwithstanding the arrogance of certain individuals thinking that they could do better, anybody with a degree of sense and sanity would realise not only is there no content to be had because they've used it all up whinging about the royal family, but she and Harry are so unpopular that all you do get is at best grudge reviews, and that's not going to last very long. Any major media corporation would need their heads examined to be involved as being a big backer for this one's wife. What about some kind of friend bailout? Can't Tyler come to the rescue? What about Oprah? The problem is that the main friends that this one's wife has, those coterie members and lieutenants, are actually low level. There are no big hitters in there. There are no Clooneys, there are no Oprahs, and the people of those names have distanced themselves from this one's wife. Thus, some kind of friend bailout seems unlikely. What about a return to the royal family? It's certainly the case that King Charles would probably countenance that, and Harry would like to reconcile with his family. But there are two major problems with that. This one's wife would be very reluctant to do so because her narcissism perceives the United Kingdom as a hostile environment for her, and whilst Charles might welcome them back, other members of the royal family are adamant that they should not return, and that hostility presents a problem both in terms of it happening and this one's wife being attracted by it. What about prolonging the agony? Well, rather than just sinking into obscurity over the next few months, this one's wife is likely to try and eke it out, clinging on, being that unflushable turd. For instance, the potential for a reconciliation with her father, the potential for divorce, and the revelations about her hell with Harry, which would certainly garner interest by way of books and possibly some form of programme if she was moved to go along that route, that she might be able to make some small gains from some people she can call favours in. Thus, she continues to plummet in the way that she's gone back to essentially running a lifestyle blog and making jam, that she has these little bits which kind of keep her afloat, but it's all part of the downward spiral. So it's possible that the agony is prolonged for a while yet as a consequence of these small life jackets that are thrown her way, but they're not enough to ultimately stop her sinking into the bottom of the ocean. The alternative might be to jump to a new spouse, disengage from Harry, but there are limited options there because of her age and reputation. Why would you put up with someone who's known as being universally unpopular and is aging when you can get somebody that's fresh, exciting, and a real hard body who isn't going to give you as much of a hard time? She's backed into a corner. She's tried so many things, and so many things have failed, which of course wounds the narcissist. And as a consequence of this failure and the very limited options that are available to her, this is the outcome. Obscurity beckons for this one's wife, which of course is something that would be hugely problematic to a narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.